Hey guys, what's up? It's Chaos Uchi here, and I'm here with my friend Frank, also known as Shippy. We're both from the same team. We've both been playing competitive card games. Well, I haven't really been playing for too long, but I'm super sweaty try hard, so I've seen some decent results pretty early in my TCG career. But I think Frank's been playing for you played Yu-Gi-Oh before, right, Frank?
No, God,
Oh,
no.
is that just James?
Yes, I was just Bird or James. Yeah. I pretty much. I don't know. As a kid, you've always collected the cards. Didn't really play it back then, but Digimon was my first
It was your first
competitive
TCG
one
as
that
well,
I'm
right?
treating. So,
Okay. Well, I mean, like, so we're both coming in from very similar perspectives on like what is a new, like our reactions to a new card game because we both play the same card game and it was kind of our
mm-hmm.
first proper one. So we'll go through the quick start guide. This got leaked by a magazine, and well, I don't, well, the magazine didn't leak it, but somebody leaked the magazine article early, and now they've just kind of just let it publish early, if you get what I mean. So I'll just quickly like read over some of the bits. So in look, well, I'm not gonna go into it because like some of it's just super like basic stuff. But in Lorcana, you're known as an Illuminaire, and you play out characters from and characters, actions, items, and songs through the Illuminary, and that's kind of what you are. You're kind of like a caster, putting these things out onto the field. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in Lorcana, Lorcana is a strategy game where each player makes their own deck before the game starts. The decks aren't mixed together. You can play with one of the available ready-to-play decks, make changes to one of those decks, or build an entirely new deck that's your own. In a game like this, cards can allow you to do things that aren't normally a part of every turn. If a card text ever contradicts the game rules, follow what the card says. So yeah, here you see the type of cards we have. So on the first um,
Mm-hmm.
bit. You have characters, items, actions, and songs are a different type of action. Uh, so characters are what you use to get into the win condition. So we now know that the win condition is obtaining lore, which is on the what those little pips are on the side of the characters. And it basically what the match is just each player playing each other in a race to get to 20 lore the fastest. But we'll go into that into a bit more detail. Items are kind of like tamers from Digimon, so they stay on the field and they constantly give like a buff over time. Uh, Actions are like option cards from Digimon or spell cards. Sort of, you basically just play them from your hand. And the difference between an action and a song is that there's songs are a type of action that some characters can just play for free. So they're kind of they kind of help you progress faster in the game. When they say it like that, I feel like they don't explain it properly because you have this action card called One Jump Ahead, and yeah, that's a song from Aladdin, but it's a character that costs two or more that can use that. And since you can use two colors in the deck, I mean, it's only a character that costs two or more that needs to be the requirement for you to play that card for free. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, that's pretty. I would say that makes that card sound pretty good. If it was more restrictive in that it required like Aladdin
Yeah,
specifically, it would
especially
be a more restrictive card, but it just generically is anything blue.
I think
So
generic support is always like a good thing. Oh, you see that a lot in Digimon as well, like cards like Blue Memory Boost, for example. It being able to like this is almost in a weird way better than Blue Memory Boost because in a deck like Imperial, you can't take the green cards, whereas this can kind of has more synergy with a deck, like if you get what I mean.
yeah, if you mix colors, you can still use it with a color that isn't blue.
Okay,
It
so
just requires you to have
Lorcana will
yeah.
have like a similar kind of tutorial app that Digimon had in the beginning as well. Yeah, so you're winning. Your goal is there's two win conditions. Again, very similar to Digimon. I'm gonna keep making comparisons to it because one, it's my main card game, and two, I actually do think there's a lot of comparisons. Uh, So your goal is to be the first player to gain 20 lore or more. And you can bank lore in a kind of in a kind of way, but we'll get into that in a second. And then the second win condition is basically being able to deck if it's like deck out basically. So the same thing like Digimon pretty much is that exactly. Either in Digimon you go for security, you do the last check and you win for game, or you deck your opponent out. I'm not sure if there'll be a lot of mill cards in this game, but we'll have to look at it in a bit. So if you look at parts of the card, it just shows the UI of the card. So you have the cost of how much it is to play the card, and the way the resource system works in this game is very interesting. So instead of having a second deck or having like something like a land, you see this Mickey Mouse card, Wayward Sorcerer. He has like a circly kind of flourish around his cost.
Yeah.
So he can be used as something, as a resource basically. So at the start of your turn, at like during your turn, you can choose to put one of your cards in your hand face down, and that will basically be like a land for the like for throughout the game.
Yeah, that makes it. I like that because it means you don't necessarily in Magic you can brick by not drawing lands.
Yeah, exactly.
At least all of your cards, well, not all, as I can see, there are some cards that don't have that symbol around them, so I assume they can't be used like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's exactly it.
But,
yeah, it's basically like I think all characters, all items will have, as so far that we've seen, more or less have it. There's some that won't. Like I think Hades doesn't have that symbol around him, so I like some of the shift characters don't have it. But I think shift is like a powerful ability, so I think that's in like to kind of make it a bit more balanced. That's why they've done that. But yeah, you basically. It also means that like cards that you never play from your hand aren't necessarily bricks as well.
it's kind of. It means like if the game's progressed past a point, you draw like a one-cost card that would do nothing. You can just make that your next mana.
Exactly. And then and it also is like better, so you don't in like again like in Magic, if you have like loads of blue cards in your hand, but you draw into your green or your white lands, like you're not going to be able to play them out because you don't have the right color. Whereas this is just a colorless resource system, which I think is pretty good. It depends on how the ramp works because I feel like only being able to put one per turn can make the game quite slow. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that's why I think one jump ahead is going to be really eventually disgusting.
Yeah.
It helps you super ramp. I mean, can you only play one song per turn?
So yeah, it just so the action just lasts for the turn. Yeah. So as soon as you use it, it's done like an option card basically.
Okay.
But you can have 4 one jump aheads in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
So it is playset to 4 like Digimon as well.
Yeah. Again, sparks coming in.
Yeah. You have abilities and effects that on the card. Again, they like overrule game mechanics. So if it says to do something, you just do that. You have the strength and willpower icons. So, like Digimon, again, you can only attack into suspended characters. And then when you do an attack into a suspended character, their strength and willpower rubs off on yours. So, like, if you attack into let's say Mickey Mouse is attacking into something that's bigger than him, it would die, but it would also leave the damage that of his strength amount onto the character that he attacked, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, similar to Magic and Hearthstone.
Yeah. And then the lore value is those little pips on the side, and that's how many lore you will earn when you quest your character. So you have the option to either attack an opponent's opposing character that's suspended per turn, or you have to choose to quest to help you get closer to your win condition. So I think that's quite. So when your card, you basically suspend your card to quest as well. So I think that's quite fun because you get to basically you basically get to choose to if you want to control your opponent's board or start building faster to your win condition. And I think that makes for like a bit more intricate sort of game style. It's not just like choose to do one thing or choose to do the other. It's like you have to basically really put weight on the actions that you take as a pilot during your plays. Setting up it's so Lorcana has mulligan, but the mulligan works at very like in a very weird way. So when you set up, you shuffle your deck, you set your lore tracker to 0, you draw 7 cards for your starting hand, and then if you're going first, so it's best of 3 Lorcana as well. But on your first turn you don't mulligan, and then in your second turn you have a selective mulligan. So you can keep what you want in your hand, put the rest into your deck, shuffle it up, and then draw the cards. Like let's say you put 3 back and you have a starting hand of 7, you draw 3 back. So I think that's pretty interesting. What do you think about that, Frank?
Skips a step in your first game. Are you sure they're not meaning just the first time you play the game?
Yeah, so it's the first time in the best of 3.
Are we sure?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I'll trust you. I'll trust you. It doesn't specify that, but in my opinion, it might just be them saying, "Hey, you're learning this. Don't mulligan when you're first trying the game out.
No,
But
I
if you
think
can't mulligan in your first game out of the best of 3, that's interesting."
from what
And
we
then
understand, and like other content creators as well, it's literally just for your first game of the best of 3, which I don't hate. I don't hate that. Um, I don't like because we played Digimon for a very long time without mulligan. I can kind of see why like selective mulligan can be broken for all 3 games of a best of 3, if you get what I mean. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I think it's something that we have to try and then see if we would like it or not. But yeah. But don't forget, like a 7 starting hand is quite big, and if you're going second, that's basically 8 cards in your starting hand.
but you're probably not, unless there's going to be some zero cost actions and potentially items. There's not going to be much you're doing on your first turn, I think, other than spending an ink and maybe playing a character that costs 1.
Yeah, there is a really powerful 1-cost character, which is Captain Hook. We'll take a look at him in a minute. Oh yeah, and then the rarity key. We all kind of knew this because we saw like the icons on the cards early, and like, everyone kind of figured it out. But now it's nice to actually have some really official visual on the rarities. So common, there's going to be 5 rarities: common, uncommon, rare, super rare, and legendary. So it's again like exactly the same words we use for Digimon, except for instead of legendary we have secret rare. I don't know how common legendaries are going to be, and I think for the health of the game, if there isn't at least a legendary per box, I can see it being like really bad for market prices and stuff, because there's 2 cards that we know are legendary already, and they're both like pretty good cards. So yeah, if they're unbelievably expensive, I think it could really like be a bad thing for the game, but maybe you'll get 2 per box. I don't know. So we haven't seen any alt arts as well, which I'm quite interested in, like how that's gonna work, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do that.
Okay,
If they're
so
hiding it.
that's pretty much all of the first part of this like little guide that they put out. We'll take a look at the second part now. So playing the game, a turn is divided into 2 parts. Each player takes their whole turn before passing the turn to another player. On your turn, you take these steps. So unsuspend, basically. Unsuspend your characters. If any effects happen, then resolve them. and then draw a card from the top of your deck. So you draw one per turn, once per turn, and but except if you're going first, obviously you don't draw on your first turn. The main
It
phase.
sounds like that's just both players don't draw on their first turn. Because sorry, I didn't mean to the first players because this stuff. Yeah.
No, it is a little bit confusing, but like Ravensburger
I just didn't read.
kind of cleared a bit of this stuff up. And then the main phase, once per turn, you put a card down face down in your inkwell. You have to show your opponent that card so that they can see that it has the flourish. Which I think again is like pretty interesting because then you know what kind of card your opponent's playing. You get to see, okay, now I know that they only have 3 of those cards left in their deck, sort of thing, you know?
Yeah. I respect it because that way they don't have to have like different card backs.
And it kind of reminds me of the intricacies that you have like as a purple player in Digimon as well, like choosing specifically what cards you want to put into your trash or into your inkwell. And this is kind of important. So I think that will come with like really good decision making skills you have to build as a pilot as well. Additionally, you can take actions listed below any number of times in any order you want. This allows you to take full advantage of your cards and combinations on your turn. So it's basically, again, like Digimon, you can kind of resolve all your main phase as much as you want. There is no like second main phase or anything like that. It's just you do your turn and then that's it. So you can play a card, use a character's ability that doesn't require them to exert, use an item ability, take an action with a character that's been in play since the start of your turn. These include quest, challenge an opponent's exert character, or use an ability that requires them to exert. So with certain characters, you're gonna have a choice of 3 options. So like the better characters will give you a choice of 3 options. So either to quest that character to gain your win condition, to attack your opponent's characters, or to use their ability. So I think that's quite interesting that they're all underneath the same thing. Some game rules and card effects require you to exert your character and play. But once a card is exerted, you can't exert it again until it's been readied by a game rule or card effect. To ready a card, simply turn it back upright. Remember to ready all your exerted cards at the beginning of your turn. Your inkwell. Your inkwell is where you put ink cards face down. You'll use the cards in your inkwell to pay the cost of cards that you play from your hand. You may put a card down from your hand to your inkwell once each turn. The card you choose must have the flourish icon around the cost icon in the upper left hand corner. The more ink cards you have, the more you'll be able to do. To put a card in your inkwell, you must show your opponent the card, then put it face down into your inkwell as ink. Every card in your inkwell represents 1 ink, no matter what's on the front of the card, so choose wisely. Cards you put in your inkwell stay there for the rest of the game. Once you put a card in your inkwell, nothing on the front matters, including its cost, ink type, and it's simply ink. So yeah, another cute thing I think is which they say as well. So when you actually turn your ink sideways, they call it your ink is dried, which I don't know. I just think that's kind of cute that they have like cool terms for everything that's happening in the game. Yeah, there's not that much else to go over really. Basically, many items and characters have your turn effects and only during your turn. So it sounds like, I mean, we don't 100% know, but it sounds like you can only do things on your turn. Again, like Digimon, except for when Blastoise comes out. But yeah, I'm a big fan of like being able to do your turn and letting it fully resolve. I'm not sure how I really feel about games that have a lot of hand traps and stuff, you know.
I mean, there's a good middle ground because interaction with your opponent is good. Playing solitaire can feel bad.
I get
Like
that. I get that.
there's like a good middle ground. Like there is too far where you're just basically constantly just stopping each other from playing the game, and then there's the other end where you're both basically just playing your own game and not caring about what your opponent's doing.
Yeah. I think I think I think Lorcana in a weird way because of how the win condition works allows for a um a bit more freedom in how that happens if you get what I mean.
Mm.
So you can play solitaire in Lorcana. You could just have a deck that throws down loads of one cost characters. You don't care about your opponent's board. You don't even swing at your opponent, and you just quest all of these low cost characters to get to 20 as fast as possible.
Mm.
Or you could have a really heavy control deck that just stops your opponent from playing the game. But I think, especially with having access to two colors, I think having flexibility is very key if you're not gonna have hand traps or anything that resolves on your like when it's your opponent's turn. And honestly,
Yeah,
I don't mind it. Like
I mean,
yeah, I don't mind it.
the counterplay I see is that you can't do anything with a character on the turn you've played it unless it has an effect that says otherwise. Like you can't quest, you can't challenge. So the
Yeah,
character is a sitting duck for one turn
there are
unless it
cards
has
that
other effects.
so there are two cards that are card abilities that we've seen that do work with what you're saying. So there is rush in
Yeah.
this game, and it's literally just
Yeah.
called rush as well.
Yeah, I read it because I was on the first one, and it was just for challenging. So you
Yeah,
can't rush quest,
I think
only
that's
rush
fair though,
challenge.
because
Yeah, yeah.
that'd be pretty
If,
crazy.
if if you were like 2 points away and you had a character that could just rush quest and get you those 2 points, and then you win,
Yeah, that'd be pretty
there's
broken.
nothing your opponent can do about it.
And then there's also an ability called Ward, which you
Mm.
can. There is a character that. So Sleeping Beauty has this ability that she can give it to other characters, but there's some characters that naturally have Ward, and Ward means that your character can't be targeted by um, your opponent's card effects.
Oh, by just card effects. Okay,
Yeah, so
it can
you
still be
will have
flung
to
out, but
you will have to turn you. They can be challenged, but you'd have to turn them sideways, obviously, to be challenged. Um, so we'll have a look at that in a bit. But yeah, like there are some things. Again, we won't know how this game plays until it comes out. But this is to help, um, you know, get help give people a flavor of what's coming and help people's brains, get rolling on how
my
this game can be played.
initial my initial opinion from seeing the win condition is that I'm not sure how I feel about score based card game winning. I know that's definitely more of a thing in board game card games, if
Yeah,
that makes sense, where it's more than just 1v1. Obviously, a lot of them also have 1v1s in them as well, but that is definitely a Ravensburger being Ravensburger a little bit there. Like,
yeah.
it's a score based win con.
I get what you mean, but at the same
I
time,
mean,
like
it could still work, but like, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. But
yeah.
obviously, not every card game has to be I smack my opponent until they run out of life points
Well,
in
I
whatever
think
fashion.
that's like what they were going for as well. They don't want it to be so confrontational.
Yeah, and obviously, I also can see on one of them it says, while it's normally just a 1v1, you can just add more players in and it
Yeah,
will just go around left. So they are making it with the idea of it also kind of being used as a board game where you can have like a table of 8 players all racing to get to 20
yeah.
lore.
It can be multiplayer as well. I don't think most people will play multiplayer off the bat because obviously they'll have to learn how to play the game.
Oh god, yeah. Can't imagine people doing massive tables full of trying
But I
to.
mean, it is fun that it can be multiplayer. Like there are some times where only a few people show up for locals if it's like at the end of a long meta or something. And then instead of just playing 1v1 games, you could probably just play a 4-player game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I can see some benefits to it. And it also just means rather than how some games should come up with any guff
Well, it also
rules, it's
allows,
already kind of baked into the game.
yeah, it also allows for like different formats as well. Like a team event for Digimon is like you literally do 3 1v1s with your team, whereas a team event for Lorcana could be like 6v6. Yeah, well, 3v3, but using, you get what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of interesting. Um, yeah. So basically, yeah, we all know that there's questing, challenging. The way you play a card is by using your ink. You turn your ink sideways to bring out a character to pay for their cost. They have damage tokens. I'm probably gonna use like some sort of dice because
Dice is probably the easiest way to do it. That's what Pokemon do. You just get like a bunch of stick-sided dice, like a bag full
yeah.
of, and then
I think, well, actually, at our locals, shout out to Manascrew. I think Mark has like a bunch of minus dice, so I'll probably use those. Um, oh, deck building. So this is good to go over as well. So there are deck building restrictions. So there isn't a maximum on what your deck size can be, but it must have at least 60 cards in it, which I think is very interesting. I think the sweet spot is going to
Pokemon turned into
be,
a tournament with 200 card decks,
well,
and they're like, actually, we should make them.
I think someone might, but like at the same time, what benefit? Like at that point, you're probably not playing a very good deck, especially in the first set. I don't even think that's going to be possible. So because you're limited to 2 inks. I'm not. I mean, maybe I'm not sure, but I'd have to do the maths on that. But I think for the sake of actually playing the game and seeing what you want to play, like seeing what you want to see quickly, 60 in between 60 and 75 is probably the sweet spot. Because you see it with like, I think Flesh and Blood have like some sort of leeway on their deck size as well. You see it kind of in that, and I think when you buy a pack of sleeves, they come with 75 max. So if you need a hint from the game designers on how big maximum your deck probably should be, I mean that's probably it, right?
I mean, I feel like there's 15 spare sleeves, but
You get what I mean. Like I don't.
yeah,
I think after 75, you're probably just. It's probably not a very good deck at that point, unless it's like a self-mill deck and you need that many. But and then yeah, you can't have more than 4 copies of a single card. So if it's like, basically in this game you use the text underneath. So you know how you had like earlier Mickey Mouse. I think it's Wayward Sorcerer. Yeah, Wayward Sorcerer. Like if it's Mickey Mouse, Brave Little Tailor, which is another card. That's how you differentiate how many 4-ofs you can have. So you can have 4 Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer and 4 Mickey Mouse Brave Little Tailor, but you can't have more than 4, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
Which I think is a nice little way, pretty obvious way of, as well, making sure people don't run too many cards in their deck. And your deck can either be mono or dual color inks. It can't be more than that. So, yeah, there's not much else to go over. Basically, when opponents battle each other, their damage is permanent, and there's some new cards that haven't been revealed on here, which is Captain Hook, Captain of the Jolly Roger, and Donald Duck. So yeah, there's but that's it basically. Like yeah, that's so the game is going to be pretty interesting. There was something about there being the organized play sort of side of things. I'm not sure if I can find that quick. Yeah, they did put like a little statement out on organized play. Just gonna have a quick look for that. But basically, it's nothing crazy. It's just like, them saying that they want uh, uh, They want there's gonna be like Lorcana League and game night, and there's gonna be uh, yeah, basically earning points will qualify players for a number of Disney Lorcana prizes from their game store. So it sounds like you can rack your points up to exchange it for something. Promo cards, pins, and other prizes with options for 12-week league play events are coming. There'll be a kit for game stores held around the globe that rewards promo cards. So promo cards is not like Digimon when they say that. There will never be a card that's not in the set. If you get what I mean. So these will only be alt arts.
Okay.
Pins and other prizes for players who participate in the event. Yeah, so it sounds pretty interesting. I like that you can get more than just cards as well. I mean, I'm not a big pin collector or anything, but if I've already used up all of my stuff to get what I need from the 12-week event, then at least I can spend it on something I don't have, if you get what I mean as well.
Yeah. I'm assuming that means after the 12 weeks, those points expire, so you need to use them.
Probably, yeah. It does say and, like, I think it did say at some point and more. So like, I think they are planning on bigger
more stuff.
yeah, and like maybe these points will be used to qualify for like bigger tournaments as well, possibly. So I mean, I think it's pretty cool. You get to actually pick kind of what you want instead of just getting given a wink wink Aero Vidramons back to back. So yeah, but there's if you go onto the Lorcania.com section, but we can have a look at some of the cards that are already out. There's quite a few now, which is good.
I may have just been scrolling a little bit.
Yeah. There's so like Captain Hook is like a really good card for early game advantage because it has the effect Challenger +2. So it's a 1 cost that has 3 attack, 2 health, which I mean that's pretty good.
I mean, it's only when it's challenging.
Yeah.
So it's only when it's the one challenger.
Yeah, I mean when it's suspended is gonna get killed probably.
It should get cut back, yeah, like jamming demons, you know.
But again, you can
on them, they need to be killed.
Yeah, that's a really good example. This is probably the closest thing to like a jamming Vmon, you know. There are some broken combos I'm starting to see already. So I think blue and red will be a very powerful card combination because you have the effect evasive. Only characters with evasive can challenge this character. So Mickey Mouse, Brave Little Tailor has it, Tigger has it, and Goofy. So evasive is a really strong ability, but if you mix evasive with Aurora, which is Aurora Dreaming Guardian, protective embrace, your other characters gain ward. Opponents can't choose to challenge them. Can't choose them except for challenging. So basically, if you have evasive and ward on your characters, it's just
your character. The only people that can ever swing at you will always be evasive, and you can't be dealt with by items.
But that does sound broken. But at the same time, Aurora can actually she gives other characters ward. She doesn't give herself ward.
Yeah.
So if you can kill Aurora and then go for like a
board, all they have to do is deal with Aurora.
Yeah. So as long as you can deal with Aurora, you're good. And I think like cards like Elsa are really good for that because Elsa has the ability freeze, exert a chosen opposing character.
Yeah.
So you can literally, because you can choose to exert Aurora, not anything else because of Aurora's effect, you can then, make it able to be challenged. So I think that's why, especially dual color is really important in the first set, and you pick carefully what you make, because.
And I guess we kind of, go ahead.
Oh no, because I was just saying because you need to know, like, you need to basically have a toolbox for every sort of matchup that you can think of. Because like you might think, oh yeah, red and blue is broken, but I mean I think Elsa and like Cruella de Vil is a good combination because you can choose to exert an Aurora, for example, If your and
Mm-hmm.
your Cruella de Vil, Aurora literally has 3 health. Cruella de Vil has, sorry, 3 damage, and Cruella has 3 health. When this character is challenged and banished, you may return a chosen character back to their player's hand. So you can crash your Cruella. You can use it also to suspend an opponent's Aurora and then just crash Cruella de Vil into it. You know. And if you actually look at the price of those cards, they're about the same. So Quella's a 2 cost, Elsa's a 3, and Aurora's a 5 cost.
Actually, I would rather act more like retaliation, but only
With bounce.
on your opponent's turn, because when this character is challenged, not when this character challenges.
Oh, actually, you're
So I
probably
think
right. Yeah, you're right into that.
yeah, the way that effect reads to me is that it's just like go ahead, kill me, and then I'll get rid of you.
That's true. Maybe we'll never know until
Right,
like
your turn is vulnerable, so she kind of
yeah, we need
she
like
won't do too much.
we need like a full in-depth analysis. But yeah, it'd be kind of a
And I guess
shame
we kind
if it doesn't work on your opponent's turn as well. To be honest.
yeah, it's the way the card is worded to me, it sounds like it won't. And then
But
we kind of know how I guess the cost of their removal options is going
yeah,
to average around 5, considering red has banished a chosen character, which I'm assuming is
yeah,
discard.
that card is very strong because it doesn't really have a
It has no optional condition. It's just banish them for 5.
yeah. Elsa,
So
I mean Elsa's
as long
pretty
as that
strong as
character
well because
is
Elsa can just suspend any character. It doesn't even matter, how big the character
I
is.
think she has the exert symbol on it, so I think you have to exert something to then exert.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd have to
Then
exert Elsa to be able to actually use her effect. But once she's exerted, I think it will just work on any character, that's pretty cool. I think Shift is going to be an interesting ability as well. So Shift is basically like Stitch Rockstar has it. So Shift 4, you can pay 4 ink to play this on top of one of your characters named Stitch. So it's actually a good way of like progressing with how much ink you're getting in the game. So instead of paying
so you
6,
can go for like character specific
yeah, instead of paying
builds.
6, you pay 4. You just go straight up into a bigger body,
Mhm.
and then you still have ink left over to be able to,
Now, here's the big question:
yeah.
when you shift, does that clear all damage counters? Because to me, it doesn't specify that it keeps the damage counter. It just says you pay
I,
4
I
to play
don't
this
I don't
damage.
think that character remains that character. I think that's treated as playing the character brand new. So I think it would get rid of damage counters, but also I think that character would not have the ability to swing that turn. It'll be like summoning sickness as well.
Yeah.
So I
So
think
it's like you're replacing a body on the field for slightly cheaper because you have a body on there already.
yeah, it is really interesting. We won't know until obviously like more rules come out. More like hopefully a sort of gameplay trailer comes out soon as well, or some sort of gameplay analysis. But Maleficent seems like a really strong card as well. She has Dragon Fire. When you play this character, you may banish a chosen opponent's character. So you're not only playing a massive body, but also you're getting rid of something as well. Obviously, getting to 9 ink if you're only getting 1 ink out per turn would take a long time. So I'd imagine with ramp, well, you'd need ramp to be able to play that in your deck. But she is a legendary character, which is kind of, like I said, is a bit scary because if that character is quite hard to get into, or get, like in terms of pull rates and stuff, then I can see it being a problem for like people building decks. But I definitely think red is one of the most powerful colors just off the bat for the first set. Whether or not the meta is going to be balanced or not in terms of colors abilities, I'm not sure. But because I'm pretty sure like red and purple probably have the most cards revealed so far. And there's like another broken card which is the Pocket Watch card, White Rabbit's Pocket Watch. So you pay 3 ink to play it, and then you can exert it for 1 and like basically you turn the card sideways, and you pay an ink as well,
You've
and
got
you can give any character rush for that turn, which is like, I think that's pretty crazy, to be honest. It works quite well with
yeah,
Elsa as well.
because it's like a setup, right? So you just go right as turn 3, bonk this item down. Turn 4, play a 4 cost. So you could play like a Mickey, and then you just there's one go. I suppose you'd need at least a 5th mana, but then you'd be able to tap it and give the Mickey rush.
Yeah, basically. So it's definitely gonna be interesting. So far, I think it doesn't just seem like a terrible game. There's some sort of thought into the game mechanics and stuff. How it's all gonna play out, we won't really know until we get the cards physically in front of us and dive into it a bit. Green is like described as a toolbox deck. There's the Wicked Stepmother card that has the ability to do it again. So you can return the action card from your discard to your hand. So that doesn't specify it has to not it can't be songs. So that ramp card that we saw earlier, the Aladdin card, one jump ahead, you could if you're running green and blue together, you could recycle one jump ahead over and over to ramp faster. You could also recycle Dragonfire, which is if you're playing green red, green red, then you can just keep banishing your opponent's board, which is pretty fun as pretty evil but pretty fun as well,
Mm.
But there are some cards so for example in blue has a card called Robin Hood, who has the ability Good Shot. So during your turn, he has evasive. So you can use him to attack opposing characters with evasive on your turn only. So it does seem like they are thinking about. I don't think you can really run mono. I think mono will be quite weak compared to dual, based on looking at these effects and the synergies they have together already in the first set. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I do get you.
But other than that, I do think the game is looking pretty interesting. But yeah, I think we're probably gonna wrap it up there, Frank. You have anything else
Yeah,
you want to say?
No, I mean, I think it looks like it could be interesting. I might pick up a couple bits at the start, play it, see how it goes,
Yeah.
do my usual net deck at the start. Although everyone's going to be having no idea, so I'll see what some people think will be good decks, and then see if I agree and maybe build those.
Yeah, I think that's going to be quite a fun thing about this game is the second set comes out. So this comes out in August, and then the second set comes out, I think, for pre-release in November, December time. So you don't really have enough time to figure out the meta, which is, I know that sounds really scary for some people, but for me that sounds super fun because it puts a real emphasis on deck building instead of just with Digimon, Japan's ahead of us, so we can just pretty much more or less net deck 90% of the deck, and then it's just maximum a 10 card difference,
Mm-hmm. I mean, it has its ups and its downs that way, right? Although we have seen plenty of times where the West has innovated on what Japan hasn't been able to find. And then, I mean, even stuff like back in BT 7, it took Japan a whole extra set a bit to find out that you could just turbo Susanoo out and go for game by using Mega Digimon Fusion. When I'm pretty sure it probably would have been spotted within the first couple of weeks of EN meta. But,
Yeah.
they
But
hit it before it got here. So
imagine being the first guy to do that. Turbo out Susanoo.
yeah, I just can't believe it took them a whole extra set to figure it out. But I mean, sometimes that's all it takes is just some time and people experimenting, and then someone goes, "Wait a minute, this is stupid," and then other people go, "Yeah, that is," and then everyone's abusing it.
The thing is, even if you have a favorite color, you can experiment mixing that color with different colors pretty much every week, which sounds super fun to me,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm interested in trying it. I don't know how much I will buy the product, but We'll see.
Yeah, well, definitely. I'm definitely gonna give it a go. I'm probably gonna put in a decent amount into it in the beginning and see how it goes from set one. If set one's enjoyable, then yeah, I'll just keep it up. But thanks for watching, guys, and let us know what you think in the comments below. We're trying to be. I mean, I'm pretty excited for the game, so I'm trying not to be too biased on like positive views, but I definitely see like steps in the right direction instead of just uh you know
It's a
just
hard game.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
So just
You
thought
can
about it more than it just being, hey, look, it's Disney.
yeah,
They
exactly.
things.
Yeah, like it isn't just like it doesn't seem like it's just a cash grab, at least initially, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they
Yeah,
actually care about making a competitive game or semi-competitive game that has like a good reward system.
the middle ground crowd, I reckon. I
Yeah,
mean, Disney is just a very wide audience, so they can definitely capture a lot of people. All right, let's wrap it up.
yeah. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Hopefully, we'll put out a podcast soon for Digimon exclusively. Yeah, but we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.